What's going on, guys? I hope all of y'all are doing well. This is going to be a longer video than I usually do, so I'll keep this introduction short. But in this video, I will cover some of the most highly requested, highly anticipated, and longest planned features to come to the game. And those features are the implementation of animals in hunting. So now that you know what we're talking about, let's jump into it. Here is everything that we know about animals so far. So originally, the developers planned for animals to come out no earlier than Build 43. The reason being is that animals are technically NPCs, and thus much of the code for NPCs would have to be implemented for the animals to work correctly as planned. The problem for the developers is that they didn't want modders to use the code to create robust human NPCs before they had a chance to release their own version of them. However, they realized that a lot of animal products are needed in the crafting system they are implementing in Build 42 to work as intended. By the way, if you want to know more about the changes coming to crafting, I have a video out detailing everything that we know about the crafting system, so you can check that out. So after debating a bit, the developers decided to include animal NPCs in Build 42, though the AI and behavior code will not have the same capabilities as the human NPC code. The developers even said that in Build 42, animals will be pretty dumb, even by animal standards. Fortunately, once the NPCs are released, the devs will replace the basic animal AI with the appropriate behavior code. But enough talk about the code. You're here to know everything about animals coming to Project Zomboid. So, let's talk about the animals. There are two groups of animals coming to the game, domestic animals and wild animals. Let's talk about the domestic animals first, as they are the ones we have the most information for. The domestic animals that have been confirmed or alluded to are cows, sheep, chicken, and pigs. You'll be able to find these animals in the early game at barns and can transport them with ropes and animal trailers, which will be coming to Build 42 as well. Animals will be able to emote, lie down, sit, graze on grass, and eat from troughs while in their pens. You will be able to pet your animals and perform medical checks on them to make sure they are in good health. Babies will stay near their mothers and drink milk from the udders. Baby animals will also take a realistic amount of time to grow into their adult form, so a calf will take 2 in-game years to be full grown. Maturation will be affected by things like hunger, thirst, the general health of the animal, and the size of their enclosure. Talking about food and thirst, the player will have to provide food and water for their livestock, otherwise they risk them dying. Stats like hunger and thirst will update every in-game hour as to not be too intensive on your CPU. Each animal will have different traits and breeds that will be better at expressing those traits, which I will talk about more in a bit. But let's talk more about each of the domestic animals you can obtain. Cows will be one of the animals the player can find to help them obtain food. Cows will be able to have calves and will generate milk to feed their offspring. The player can take advantage of this and milk the cow for themselves. The more the player milks lactating cows, the more the cow will generate milk. Though if the udder remains full, health problems may befall the cow and milk production will cease. Obviously, this milk can be used as food by itself or in cooking recipes. Each of the domestic animals will have various breeds, each of which will generally be better at expressing certain attributes than others. For cows, the two confirmed breeds are the Angus cow, which will have better meat quality, and the Holstein cow, which will have better quality milk. The devs said that they may even introduce more breeds like the Simmental, which will have more balanced traits. Next are sheep. Sheep will grow wool that the player will be able to shear to obtain said wool. Like cows, they will also produce milk that the player will be able to obtain as well. The only known breed of sheep that we know so far is Suffolk. We don't know what the breed will be good at specifically, but it can be speculated that there will be a breed that focuses more on wool quality, one for milk quality, and maybe even one for the quality of meat that the animal produces. Up next are pigs. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of information on pigs, as all we really have are a couple of photos and a video. Obviously, they will be able to provide food for the player, but that's all we really know right now. We know that the game tries to be realistic, so like in real life, maybe the player will be able to make glue, lard, or some other resources from butchering pigs. But we simply don't know anything right now, and we won't know anything until the devs say something. It looks like one of the breeds for pigs will be the large black pig, which in real life is known for its quality of meat. Lastly, chickens will be able to lay eggs. The player will have to craft a hen house in order to keep their chickens safe. Each morning, the player will have to let the chickens out of the henhouse, and in the evening, they will have to close the door to the henhouse once the chickens are inside, otherwise, foxes may come and eat your chickens. If a henhouse is present, the hens will lay their eggs in the henhouse for the player to collect. However, if the henhouse is full of eggs, or if there is no hatch for the hens to lay their eggs, they will lay their eggs around the pen, which are subject to being in worse condition upon collecting or being eaten by foxes. Players will also have to clean the henhouse and replace the straw in order to keep the chicken in good condition as well. Unfortunately, I have not been able to find any references to the breeds that we can expect to see, but it is safe to say that we will get at least one breed that focuses on egg quality, one for meat quality, and maybe even one for the quality of feathers that the chickens can drop. In addition to what each animal does specifically, each animal can be butchered to produce meat, and generally, the bigger the animal is upon butchering, the more food it will produce. Some animals might produce other resources upon butchering, like obtaining feathers from chickens and animal skin that can be turned into leather. Now you might be wondering, what determines an animal's quality of meat, whether they are healthy, or any of these attributes that I have talked about? Well, the answer to your question is that all the animals will have their own traits. Each of the domestic animals will have general traits and traits that are more specific to their species. The traits that we know of so far are stress, thirst resistance, fertility, resistance, age to grow, meat ratio, egg size, strength, aggressiveness, max weight, life expectancy, max size, and hunger resistance. Each of these traits can have a mutation causing the animal to exhibit abnormal characteristics. The mutations that we know about so far are gluttonous, high thirst, fidget, bully, poor fertility, sterile, weak, dwarf, skinny, bony, die at birth, poor life, no eggs, small eggs, no wool, poor wool, no milk, poor milk, grow slow, slow walking, craven, brave, idiot, feeble, blind, fertile, and strong. Though you will never see these menus or values in the game outside of debug mode, it is important to keep a mental track of what you think your animals may have, as these are extremely important when it comes to breeding animals. Animals can be killed or die to old age, so it is important to breed your animals to make sure you have enough food and resources to survive. To do this, you must inseminate your female animals or get them to breed with their male counterparts. However, what makes tracking traits worth it is that the offspring will share the traits of their parents. The way this works is that each animal will have two alleles for the same trait. When it breeds, one of the two alleles will randomly be passed down to the offspring. So the offspring will have two alleles for the same trait, one from each of its parents. From there, one of the two alleles will become activated while the other one becomes dormant, though that allele can still be passed on to future offspring. So if you're not careful, you can breed animals with poor traits or mutations with each other, or you could be accidentally inbreeding your own animals, both of which will cause your animals to be sick and have reduced resources. That's kind of the quick rundown of breeding, but if you have any questions about it or anything else in this video, just ask in the comment section and I'll try my best to answer your question. To wrap up the section on domestic animals, I will briefly mention professions, skills, and new items coming to the game in regards to animals. So far there have not been any confirmations of new professions or skills related to domestic animals. Though, I think we will see a new skill called animal husbandry, or a new profession by the name of rancher that will give you recipes for crafting certain items. It is also possible that instead of a new profession, the current farming profession will cover both animal and plant farming, but we will just have to wait and see what the devs plan to do. Some of the new items that we can expect to see are hen houses for chickens, troughs for animals, and animal trailers for transporting animals. That was all the information that we have right now concerning domestic animals, so now let's talk about wild animals, for which we have a lot less information. So the developers have not confirmed which wildlife animals we are getting, as they are still finalizing what they want to see, but they do have models for rats, squirrels, and larger birds. In much older posts, the developers expressed interest in adding rabbits, bears, and elk. It is also unclear if foxes will have a 3D model and will be seen in-game, even though they will be able to kill your chickens. Also, and this is speculation due to what the devs have told us, but we may just get a fraction of the animals planned when Build 42 comes out, and the rest added once human NPCs and their behavior AI code are implemented in the game. Okay, so you know what animals may be coming to the game, but what are they good for? I will only talk about what the devs have mentioned, which in this case is hunting. Hunting, like animals in general, was originally supposed to come out in Build 43, but got pushed into Build 42 due to the new crafting system. Similarly, hunting has been cut down from what was originally envisioned, but when human NPCs come out, hunting will be overhauled to what the developers originally wanted. As of right now, the developers have mapped out migration routes for the animals. These routes have multiple nodes that can intersect with each other. Once animals get to these nodes, they can choose to continue on a certain path or branch off to a slightly different one. It will be up to the player to determine these migration paths. Players will have better chances of finding animals at certain points like lakes or places where animals drink and eat. The developers are working on ways for players to track animals, including finding animal excrement via the foraging system to determine its freshness and thus how close animals are. Other items that may be added are maps showing animal migration routes. As of right now, there is only one new profession related to wildlife, and that is the hunter, which will have its own crafting tree. To wrap up this video, there are two things I want to mention real quick. One, the developers have explicitly said there will be no infected animals, so don't think that you can run into infected deer or that your animals will be infected. However, the second thing is, even though they can't be infected, animals will still produce sound, and as you know, zombies are attracted to sound. So make sure you clear out a lot of the zombies around your area if you're going to bring back some farm animals. There you have it. That is everything that we know about animals so far. As I said in the beginning of the video, the reason we are getting animals in Build 42 is to make sure that the crafting system is as complete as possible, as a lot of resources required in crafting will come from animals. So for instance, when you want to make arrows when bows come to the game, you will need feathers, which you can either get from chickens or from birds. This will be a huge addition to the game, so I'm really excited for it. Tell me what you're most excited about when animals do come to the game. Also, if you have any questions, make sure you ask them in the comment section and I'll try my best to answer them. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, have a good one.